X Yo Yang, I'm gonna mess it up. Yo Yang won, which then transformed into Zero Tenacity. So there's a lot of kind of cannibalism happening within the scene right now.
Yeah, it gets to a point where Zero Tenacity, you could really call them a baby Gen G in a way. So in theory, it's kind of like a quote-unquote reject of Gen G back in the grand finals. We can't unfortunately make it make them force a map number 8 like we saw in the grand finals in stage 1. But here in day 2, it's only day 2, so we gotta ease things in with the best of 3. And no, there's no other place to start that best of 3 other than Krakoa, which will be our domination map for this match.
I love it, right? Krakoa, domination to start things off, King of the Hill style, as we try to battle it out onto a single point to determine who gets the leg up here in this best of 3. I'm looking at rejects, the likes of Finale, the likes of Gnome and Gargoyle being that dive duo, and hopefully we see some picks and bans kind of reflect that, because Zero Tenacity definitely want to bring their advantage here on this first point.
Yeah, and taking a look at the bans as well and the locks, after what we saw in the mid-season finals, I think we talked about this yesterday as well. It seemed like a switch has been flipped in most of these teams, having them realize, wait, these strategists kind of changed the game. We have to play around those. And with that, it's just a lot more emphasis on these strategists here in the picks and bans.
But Captain America tends to be a second favorite in terms of a pick and ban as well. Typically found in that second phase, like we saw time and time again with yesterday's matchups. Already rejects securing the freedom charge for themselves, wanting to hog all that freedom for their team, wanting to perhaps make a bit of a showing against Zero Tenacity. So we'll have to see how Zero Tenacity work around this very targeted pick, right? Psylocke being banned out, that's definitely one against Finale.
Ooh, and they take it for themselves as well, denying that extra backline access, extra burst potential coming in for reject. But both teams playing their draft to their utmost advantage, but I feel like Reject do come out on top right now on paper, especially securing the Captain America, securing the Luna, 2 very good ultimates that will keep the entirety of Reject alive.
Yeah, and what's also interesting is I feel like we haven't gone, at least for today, you know, this will be the 4th matchup we've seen, Dan, and we have not seen any deviation in terms of instant ban out from Loki and instant ban out from the Mantis as well. I mean, those 2 are just instantly clocked out. They don't want any of that action.
Yeah, exactly, and that's valid, right? We're still on the 3.5 patch, still going to be on that for at least for this week. So these teams will have to adapt as soon as the 4.0 patch drops. But for now, yeah, Luna Snow still a very strong pick. Loki still very strong. They haven't been nerfed yet in this first week. And it's just a big question mark, really, of how these teams are going to adapt as soon as 4.0 drops.
Yeah, you know, for the rest of us players, a lot of us are just waiting for that 4.0 to drop, but at least in the tournament, we'll still be running 3.5 patch, at least for the rest of the week until Sunday. Before next week, we'll flip over that tournament patch into 4.0 already. Marvel, one of the newer players here from Rejects, taking into that Captain America pick that they've held for themselves. Might be a bit of a nuisance, but Zero Tenacity, focus your sights on the point itself to play objective.
Yeah, Marvel is kind of just on the side, just trying to cause as much disruption as possible. XZ doing the same as well. He's got good access. He sees a low Finale and will finish him off. Finale, also a star player in a sense on the side of Reject. We've seen him go absolutely crazy in stage 1, but unfortunately XZ will come out on top.
Yeah, XZ, I feel like it's a rematch, but from a different team, you know, previously from Genji, now rocking and Tenacity onto the backline. Izayaki absolutely wiped out, now harassing the other strategist, diving into it, forcing up the cocoon. We'll have to back up, and Piggy will be right there with them, pressing the issue a little bit more. The shields able to sustain the likes of Reject a little bit more. And Zero Tenacity get themselves a leg up here on this first point.
Yeah, and they've got the ultimates online as well. Wendy with the Fate of Both Worlds. Xe also threatening the butterfly. Jerry with the Phoenix dive as well. All of these ultimates coming in, and they're going to be stacked up as Xe comes out with a double, wipes out two of the strategists right off the get-go, and it gives Reject no chance to access the site.
They're trying to press, though. Freedom Charge leads.
Okay, never mind.
Leads the charge itself. Finale with a twofer for a price of 0 onto the duelist, trying to make more happen. And Zero Tenacity now forcing out the Fate of Both Worlds. A beautiful right click from Gargoyle. It is pinpoint accuracy coming out from the Adam Warlock. Now, at least the Eternal Bond trying to evade the likes of this Jeff. But the Adobe makes quick work of that.
Zero Tenacity still a great piece of information is they still have control of the site, but it's not until now that Reject take over. Zero Tenacity stay at 63. Reject only starting to charge up that point just now, and Zero Tenacity, they're gladly going to regroup, wait for Wendy to respawn, and then go at it one more time.
They still have Finale with the end song Inferno. Just to be able to play time as a zoning tool that we've seen time and time again in the mid-season finals. Just waiting for Captain America to start things up. Bit of harassment, bit of side intonation and side distractions. That's precisely what you want to stagger the rest of the team. But senses blood in the water and takes out Finale once and for all.
Yeah, quick assassination coming in from Xe. Zero Tenacity have a lot of ultimates to work with, but Reject also have their own as well. But Finale is going to be out of the fight for just a little bit. Xe doing what he knows what to do best as a Psylocke and just tries to just bother these strategists, but the rest of Zero Tenacity are just going to go straight in, forcing a retake. They force the objective, and they will want to just try, and they will do so to try to find a way back in, but Reject have something to say about it immediately.
The Vanguard just holding control as the Vanguards that we want them to be, rejecting the likes of Zero Tenacity out of the point, and they're still holding on firm, overtaking that point percentage just barely a few seconds ago. They've got the Karmic Revival on their hands, which means Gargoyle's going to be hiding around somewhere, and I sense that ZC is going to try to flush that out. That's going to be important to whittle down the numbers from Reject.
Yep. Now it's all eyes on Zero Tenacity here as Reject are charging up the point. Now a few percentage points away from taking this round number one. But Dobie will find a pick onto Wendy. That's a big pick to get, but Xe gets two important ones for himself as the rest of Zero Tenacity flood onto the site. Dobie will find no smite, but Gargoyle comes in with the Karmic Revival. He was able to get it off in time, like you said, and that will keep Reject in the fight. Wendy will use the Fate of Both Worlds to keep the team alive, but now Reject, they have to find a way to get Zero Tenacity away, force them away. But for now, it seems as Zero Tenacity will not have any of it, but Reject will take over instead.
It's just wipe after wipe, trying to send them back into the server room. No smite with the desperation teleport, but Gargoyle immediately says no at the finale moments, taking this first point for themselves.
Great play coming from both teams, right? Zero Tenacity were able to take early control. XZ with the flanks, with the assassinations, and was just able to just become that nuisance that Reject had to handle. But in the end, Reject found a way back, and they're able to secure themselves that round number one. Quick checkup on the ultimates. Both Phoenixes having their ultimates online.
30 seconds.
Strategist ultimates.
Get ready.
Not looking so good on the side of Zero Tenacity. Reject do have Izayaki at 79%. So that's going to be a very important meter to look at when we go into this next round.
Yeah, I mean, again, that 12-second sustain from the Fate of Both Worlds can mean everything from staying on and capturing that point or being sent back as a whole team into the spawn room. That's going to be a big one to think about, as right now those bears about to drop. I also want to call out Adobe's little Jeff ultimate, just trying to be a counter towards that Eternal Bond You know, it's not the typical one that we see that maybe is a Meteor M counter, but hey, it does the exact same thing to take out the Eternal Bond.
Tenacity do adjust onto the Magneto like we talked about with that Meteor M, try to get that burst damage down to deny a key ultimate from coming down. Either it's from Dobby or Izayaki. Just having that potential of making a game-changing ultimate is important in the eyes of Zero Tenacity. But for now, Reject look to take over the site. They get it to half, but they can't get the meter going just yet.
Right now, the map's flipped on itself, right? Both teams have migrated in terms of where they've positioned. Now Marvel's trying to make themselves a bit of a nuisance here in this backline. The strategists playing ping pong with each other, dancing within the healing bubble. And now the fate of both worlds pop. Piggy goes in for the dub and does get away with it. Dobby will find Wendy, and now it's starting to crumble for Zero Tenacity.
Yeah, we talked about this right before the round started, right? Izayaki was very close to the fate of both worlds. So in a sense, Reject inevitably would have taken early control of the site, and they do so as we expected. Zero Tenacity, it's not until now where they have their key ultimates coming back up.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that Rejects are running triple strategists, right? That's the interesting thing, that effectively means that they don't necessarily have that much damage, but collectively they're able to zone out and pick their eliminations wisely. Now Zero Tenacity back for some blood, has to try to get themselves on to this point with some Kadia action around using those barriers. But in the backline, Marvel being one of the absolute nuisance, taking out Jerry almost at an instant.
Yeah, Eternal Bond is going to be forced out by Dotori. Ghostlight and Kaidia are also threatening their ultimates as well, but Reject will respond. Gargoyle does also have the Karmic Revival available, and that did change the fight in that round number 1. Gargoyle looking to do it again.
Hopefully they were able to pull it off, but the chip away now. Jerry's right up with there onto Piggy, making sure that one of the Vanguards is taken care of. The Sparks are going absolutely wild, and onto Gargoyle we go. Karmic Revival absolutely denied. Able to bring back one Piggy in the midst of it all, but no more Marvel as well. Both Vanguards back in action. Jeff's already popped. There is Jeff as well. I'm not sure if they caught everyone in the midst of it, but look at that feed. Turn out Blue, spitting out 3 of enemies. One managed to make it out, I believe, but hey, it's just too much, too little, too late.
What an ultimate coming out of Dobby right there. 3 members of Zero Tenacity caught inside the mouth of that land shark. And Reject look to keep on holding, keep on going forward, but no smite. Has to switch with the Desperation Teleport coming in. 5% left up for Reject to take this map number 1. But Zero Tenacity, they do get the portal down. They are able to take control of the site for a little bit. But Finale is untouched. Look at the AoE potential coming in, but Finale is all the way in melee range. He's going to do so much damage as Jerry is in 1-1. Both Phoenixes finding a pick for themselves. But who is going to take over? It's going to be Reject. Everyone of Zero Tenacity could not hold, could not stay, and they will fall in map number 1.
Beautifully done from the side of Rejects. I mean, it's just textbook right now that the way they're playing against Zero Tenacity is just absolutely adoring to watch. Triple strategist means that the stains out, but if you get dived in your backline, you just basically play ping pong with each other and then press the issue when you have map space. We saw right at the tail end the likes of Marvel plus Finale pressing that map control, getting XZ out of the way early, which means that they're down 1 for that Desperation Teleport.
XZ looked so good in the beginning. I think in both of those rounds, right? He was able to find the strategist, was just able to just pester them so much to the point where Reject kind of just, in a way, just avoided that Psylocke entirely, and they were just going all in, full force against the rest of Zero Tenacity, and I think that game plan really did work out in their favor in the end.
Indeed, indeed, and hey, it only took day 2 before we saw Jeff here, joined us by Dobby. I mean, honestly, inspired by the likes of that mid-season finals, I think is extremely, extremely fun to see Jeff come on. And is very well supported. Triple strategist is precisely when you can run both an Adam Warlock plus a Jeff, and using the It's Jeff ultimate in precise surgical manners, like, hey, popping it at the tail end of an enemy's eternal bond to suck them away and deny, does the exact same thing as perhaps a Meteor M, but you don't have to try to aim that little meatball in the sky towards a small target. You have such a big AoE to counter. But hey, even in spite of all that, Zilby managed to have a nice 3-for for themselves, a big swallow for the Land Shark.
Yeah, not only that, Dobby didn't go down a single time. That is a 0 on the eliminated stat line. I think that's our second one already. Where
yes,
yeah, second person where someone has gone undefeated, unkillable, and not only that, it's also Jeff. So also one of the more slippery heroes to work with, and here it was no different.
Here was no different indeed. We have the replays coming out. We just talked about the Jeff ultimate. But hey, just early on during the replay, we saw XZ really doing their best, right? I felt like it was the flanks and catching some of these players off guard with a well-placed Psylocke left-right click combination that XZ was able to turn the tides for their team. And Zero Tenacity, they have to dig deep and utilize that a bit more should they continue with the Psylocke. But apart from that, I thought it was barely countered, you know, from the likes of Marvel as well as that triple strategist wanting to play ping pong with each other when the time's right. You know you can rely on your fellow strategists when your life is in danger.
Yeah, and triple strategist was the name of the game for Green Tech. They were able to play around that Psylocke as best as they could. XZ really did so much work, but unfortunately just wasn't enough to take over that map number 1. And yeah, props to Zero Tenacity in the end. They were able to put up a good fight, but now we have to look forward to map number 2. How did they adjust? What map would they pick? And how would they go about it?
Yeah, I mean, the good news is that they probably have a lot of VODs to work against Rejects, and Rejects, you know, one of the most prolific teams here in the Marvel Rivals Asia scene, so a lot that you can kind of analyze, and here's to hoping that they were able to kind of flip open their strat book and pull out a little bit. I'm looking at the likes of, you know, XZ trying to be a bit more of a nuisance in the backline should they run the solo flanker once again. I'm looking at the Tori as well as Kadia, you know, household names here in the Marvel Rivals scene, coming from Genji, wanting to replicate some success that they've seen in their previous scrims with, you know, big tier players. That has to come into the play for map 2. This is the best of 3. It is the make it or break it moment for Zero Tenacity, and we'll have to see if Rejects kind of rejects them and puts them in their place. Only time will tell. We'll cut to a short 5-minute break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Trapping all those fighting souls, but yet across the world I see you standing in my way. And remember the time, the place we used to fight like the sun and moon. And I wonder if ever there was a time that we were friends. The night has fallen, shadows looming, and yes, that time has come for me to seek you out. We are set now for our last reunion. Break the chains, find your way, come fight me. Do you remember who you really are?
Welcome back, gamers and grass touchers, to day 2 here of the Marvel Rivals Ignite Asia region. Hey chat, come here. I just want to do a quick fire, you know, FAQ with you folks. 3 questions I want to quickly address. 1, this is not a replay. 2, tournament is still running on season 3.5, and 3 drops will be enabled for that Will of Galactica Blade skin coming out shortly in about 3.5 hours. what do you have to do until then? Stick around with us. We've got bangers of matches in front of us. Dan, are you ready for map 2?
I hope so, because both of these teams have been playing out of their minds. Reject and Zero Tenacity just going absolutely ham on each other, but Reject did come out on top in that first map. And now all questions are on Zero Tenacity as to how they're going to address a way to get back into the series, and what better way is it for them to choose Hall of Jalia here in map number 2.
Hall of Jalia, indeed. I mean, that's going to be the map where they have to fight back and make it in their own. I'm thinking in terms of the picks and bans that they had done in the past. You know, they actually did a targeted ban against Finale, taking out that Psylocke, which Finale just hopped onto Phoenix, one of the newer heroes here in the hero pool, and were able to just make mincemeat of the crowding that was happening from the side of Zero Tenacity. They're running double shields. They know that they typically will move as a team, especially because they were banned out the Captain America. They can't dive as hard. And so it was a bit of a perfect play that Rejects brought onto the stage for map 1. We'll have to see what Zero Tenacity fire back for the second.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta wonder if Reject were ready for that kind of target, right? We've seen Finale pop off not only on Psylocke, we've also seen him pop off on the Human Torch in stage 1. We've also seen him now going crazy on the Psylocke, which has been a very, very popular duelist pick for every team we've seen so far. And we see that it's going to be no different as the tournament goes on. But yeah, big question mark as to if Reject were ready for that kind of play coming in from Zero Tenacity.
Indeed. I mean, Rejects, they used to, I remember they used to run Gnome and Gargoyle a lot that were able to harass the backlines together. But hey, if they now have the likes of Finale and Marvel doing the exact same thing, it is amazing. And mind you, hey, this is the debut for Marvel, right? And it's doing an excellent job with survivability as a Captain America in the backline, and getting a few eliminations themselves is the cherry on top.
Yeah, and Marvel and Izayaki were part of that Yoyangwon roster, which is now Zero Tenacity. So in a way, Zero Tenacity lost 2 of their members to Reject. So it's just a big question mark if Reject are still able to perform at the highest level. And seeing how Marvel and Izayaki have been performing, it still looks like the Reject we all know and love.
It really is. And the fact that, hey, yeah, Zero Tenacity lost a few players to the side of Reject. They went ahead and picked up Gen G players of their own. They really wants to bring the heat, and only time will tell if that will happen actually here as we move into the second half of the picks and bans. Nothing too special from the first 3 that we see here in the first half. It's just Luna, Mantis, Loki, just the standards. Dan, what can I say?
Yeah, so far it's been near identical, if not completely identical from what we saw in map number 1. Strategist being the name of the game for both of these teams in terms of prioritization. But Reject still prioritizing that Captain America, and I'm a little bit surprised that Zero Tenacity looked to ban out the Jeff. So I guess Dobby was too big of a problem for Zero Tenacity.
Wow. I mean, amazing. We get, by day 2, a Jeff ban that happens against Reject. And also, looking at Ultron, that is 2 bans, 2 hero bans targeted against the Dobby, right? I mean, we've seen them take to the skies as Ultron, and with that rage, just able to lay down the land. And it looks like Zero Tenacity have at least studied their handbook a little bit and try to do more targeted bans against the side of Reject. Only time will tell if that'll be enough for them to force the map 3.
Yeah. But for now, the locks have been the same for both of these teams. Reject really want to prioritize ways to keep the team alive, which is a very, very safe approach to this game, right? You got 3 ultimates that could keep the team alive and just buy enough time for any other ultimates to come online on the side of Reject. Most notably Gargoyle with the Dance of the Butterfly, Piggy with the Psionic Seduction. These Emma Frost ultimates have been key for both of these teams in these fights, because we've seen them go crazy in those fights, as well as just zone everyone from both sides.
3,
you kind of called it as well, you know, Gargoyle now back on the Psylocke that they have been comfortable on. We don't normally see them on this a lot, but we have once in a few times now, right off the rip. Zero Tenacity, I think they've been staggered.
I think they got stunned.
They look, yeah, they're stunned out. So that Doctor Strange, that cooldown has been triggered. No early portal, which means they'll just have to do like the regular person and walk their way to the Heartlands.
That is a crazy play coming in from Zero Tenacity, denying the portal off the rip, and they're forced to use their legs to walk onto the site as XC finds an isolated 1 versus 1 against Finale. 2-star players in their own right, but it looks like XC will win out on top.
I mean, this happened the same thing from map 1 as well. Now up top, trying to be a nuisance in that back line. Strategists doing their best to sustain this top side fight as No Smite finally makes his way down onto the point, trying to start their late claims onto the percentage wide. The first ticker's already out of the way. Now Rejects actually fragmented in terms of the way their composition is positioned all over the place. Now with the pressure that Zero Tenacity have come out, it's gonna be XZ finding Izakaya as well as Piggy from the side of Wendy. It's all falling for Zero Tenacity.
Tenacity kind of just walked right on there. Reject, like you said, looked very, very separated. They were all over the place. And they just couldn't cohesively make it onto the site. And Zero Tenacity, with them being clumped together and XE just being that problem again on the back line, it was just enough for them to take over the first point. And for XE, he's got a lot more room to work with. You are playing on a convergence map. These maps naturally are just bigger in surface area as a trade of ultimates come in, but it looks like XC will get the better value out of it.
Yeah, the dance of the butterfly is doing exactly that. Now up top is Psylocke. Psylocke has to get out because those sparks are really inflaming onto XZ. Now it's a silent seduction, trying to force everyone back in the back lane too. But now the pincer onto Kadia, just stopping the seduction early in their tracks.
Yeah, the seduction pulls them in, but the fate of both worlds comes out a little too late. Wasn't able to keep No Smite alive, but it looks like it doesn't really matter as Jerry is able to trade one back. Does have the dive down, but the dance comes on for Gargoyle. Can he find any sort of value? Looks like he will, as Izayaki and Gargoyle will team up to find 2. Marvel teams up for a 3rd, and Reject looks to hold for now.
The reset coming out right now. Bit of a back and forth team-wise, and Marvel's doing their best to just check their corners. They're worried about a little sneaky XZ, just hiding around these corners, making sure that those backlines and these pockets are all securely under the defensive realm.
This is a very tough take for Zero Tenacity. They want to try to get through this choke point. I think something worth mentioning, there's also that high ground on this little lane as they go up the stairs, which benefits Reject on the defensive side. So Zero Tenacity really need to get creative.
They're right. They took that high ground themselves. They try to fight from behind now. Gargoyle sends to weakness. It's going to be the meter and looking for a target, but finds nothing. Unfortunately, Rejects have made their way onto the point. Trying to hold things back. Marvel being a nuisance. Has the freedom touch, doesn't even need it. So we silent seduction countering against the likes of Reject.
Yeah, Fatal Force also being used on the side of Reject. They want to hold down this lane, hold down this choke point to utilize that defensive advantage as long as possible. Good shroud coming in from Gotori to keep Zero Tenacity alive for the time being. But Gargoyle will wipe out Jerry, sends him to the ancestral plane. But who else will join him in there?
That's the real question. Is right now it's a pincer from Reject, all on Zero Tenacity. They have to fight on 180 fronts, right? Marvel on one side, Gargoyle on the other. It's a hard and it's a rock and a hard place for Zero Tenacity right now. Oh, almost looking at the dance of the butterfly. Just with the left-right trick, now comes out with the dance itself to wipe out Jerry.
Yeah, Finale goes down. Gargoyle will go as well. It looks like Zero Tenacity will finally burst through this lane. And that defensive side advantage on that lane will fall. And Zero Tenacity will finally make it through. 1 minute 40 on the clock.
there might still be one chance for Rejects to have one more team fight to come in through, especially with Marvel holding on to the Freedom Charge. That will be probably be key as this card comes ever so closer towards their set point.
Yeah, it's question mark for Reject. Do they commit all of their resources to try to deny the second point, or do they save and move on as No Smite will take out Dobie? Reject look to fall on the defense, even with that ultimate being used from Marvel. That Freedom Charge now expiring, and it seems like Zero Tenacity should be able to secure the second point.
No Smite just taking names. Kadia right there with them. The second leg is within their control, now pressing the issue. This is the interesting part. This chokehold that we see in front of our eyes at the halls are important. You want to get ahead of the game, or else Rejects are just going to hold on to the map control for themselves.
Yep, and now Reject have a good chance of denying the third point. Zero Tenacity need to have an absolute monstrous win in this next team fight if they want to secure the third point. Zero Tenacity, keep in mind, their spawn is very, very close to that third point. So if it gets to that point, it's very well going to be in Reject's favor, as Gargoyle does a lot of chip damage to Silent Seduction, doing a lot of work here, stunning on multiple members of Zero Tenacity. And the defense will hold, as there is a 3-4-man advantage in favor of Reject, and they will clean up house.
Yeah, I said that the likes of Zero Tenacity had to press the issue. They cut off the cart on their lonesome, and it was the likes of Izakaya who just did a bit of a backward flank, sat on that cart, converted it back to the defense, and there was nowhere that cart was going. You see, he's not even up the stairs right now. Had slid back a little bit now. Finally, within the claims of Zero Tenacity, making this Jaguar move ever so close towards the finish line.
Yep, now we got ultimates coming up online. We're going to see that domino effect as the fog appears here on the map. Is that little bit of that randomness coming in only on the Hall of Jalia. Looks like XC will use it to its utmost advantage. Has backline access. When will he press the trigger? When will he press the Q button on the Dance of the Butterfly? He's holding on to it as everyone else is popping their ultimates. As Jerry does take out Dobie with that ultimate, but for now it's the one-man advantage in favor of Zero Tenacity. How long does XC wait until his assassination starts?
So many counter plays on counter plays. This Dance of the Butterfly finds Panay in the midst of it. Now the counter Dance of the Butterfly, trying to find these knives into the hearts of your enemies. Jerry is pulling down the fort. We'll find Gargoyle with a nice click onto the head. And this card is moving forward. Last 10 seconds, overtime will be triggered. Rejects still have a chance to fight back.
Yeah, but Gargoyle looks like he just completely whiffs the ultimate. There was no one in that area. I'm not sure if he got pushed back by an invisible woman or a Magneto shove. Not entirely sure here, but looks like Zero Tenacity, they just want to deny the choke point, deny the easy access onto the point. That is a great heads-up play coming from Zero Tenacity, but will it be enough?
Just the final few players now. The Vanguards holding their fort here on the point itself, but Peggy and Marvel can only do so much. Gargoyle is the last to fall, and that's gonna be that third point well under Tenacity's belt.
I thought Reject do have an advantage there with the spawn room being so close to that third point, but the heads-up play, like we talked about from Zero Tenacity, using the Eternal Bond to just create a zone that Reject have to go through if they want to get easy access to the site, and forcing that choke point in dangerous territory just makes Reject so much more difficult for them to retake. And Zero Tenacity, with that play from that Cloak and Dagger ultimate, that's them that third point, and now the pressure all on Reject now.
Yeah, that's a smart. I like that kind of last minute call from the Cloak and Dagger, forcing out those close choke points, leaving them nowhere to run, and then you throw in a Psylocke in the midst of it all. I mean, it's left, right clicks all day, every day for the Psylocke. And cleaning up shop was the name of the game. Now they'll have to do the same thing. They have a chance here to deny a third point against Rejects and force matters into a map 3. I feel like the ball right now is on Rejects' court.
Yeah, Reject carrying a strange portal, looks like. Marvel
Starts in 5,
rocking the Doctor
4,
Strange.
3,
But will there be a play coming in
1.
where they will deny the teleport? It doesn't seem like it, as there's chip damage coming in from XZ. But for now, all eyes are on this teleport. Where is it going to be placed? It looks like it might be placed on the default side of that high ground. Marvel will switch over to Captain America, but the portal will expire, so Marvel will have to sprint his way onto the site. But he is Captain America after all.
Yeah, that high ground compromise by Reject is crucial, right? This leaves Zero Tenacity having to figure out where they want to set up shop, but holy Tenacity with a beautiful backstab like they always do. Jerry's trying to do the same thing onto it. The Sparks coming alive, has to get out of there because Captain America is on their butts.
You've got two different playstyles when you're rocking the Phoenix, right? You've got the front and back potential where you can just stay in the back, play it safe, click away from the safety of the back line, or you can just go right in their face like Jerry did with XZ, and just two of them teaming up to just go for that flank, go for the quick knockout will provide so much benefits as Reject will hold for the first minute.
I love it. I love it. Like sending effectively your two scouts into the back line. You just let Piggy and No Smite, Katie and No Smite just be able to hold down the fort. Now it's going to be Piggy as well as Marvel trying to do their best. Zero Tenacity have already taken back this high ground, which means it's going to be an uphill battle literally for the side of Piggy to get themselves on site. Trying around this corner to counterplay 1v1. Now supported onto by Katie. Coming down to the wire, but Piggy will be able to secure that elimination.
Yeah, that Everfrost does so much work, so much damage, but XZ doing just as much as the Eternal Bond will keep Reject at bay for the time being, as the dive will be used defensively. As XZ just trying to find another way in, has Dance available as well.
Looking good so far from the side of Zero Tenacity, coming out strong with the Dance of the Butterflies. Now No Smite with the
can he get the dunk? He does!
Looks for the Eternal Bond and absolutely dunks on them. Zero Tenacity finding their marks. They're taking names, they're taking bodies.
You have no idea
Great
how long
dunk coming in from No Smite. There was no counterplay. There is nothing that Dobie could do to try to get himself out. The only way back to keep the Eternal Bond alive was to dash into cover, but it seemed like Dobie wasn't able to find it just in time. And look at the economy coming in, though. Rejects still have so many ultimates to work with. Zero Tenacity only have a Fate of Both Worlds.
Yeah, looking at Gargoyle, right? Rocking that Dance of the Butterflies, trying to find and isolate bodies is the important part. But already you got XZ trying to be a nuisance themselves. Oh, I think they see the cloak of the other counter Psylocke, so that'll be interesting how they play it out. No Smite already in his backline trying to protect themselves here, trying to push back out onto this point that's slowly guarded by Rejects.
Yep. Silent Seduction is going to be used, but Kaidia is dangerously low, so he needs to be sustained as XZ wants to fight his own doppelganger as the Phoenix Dive comes in and wipes out two. Is this the push? Is this the chance for Reject to take over the site? It looks like it's gonna be a resounding yes, but Reject needs to do a lot more work, and it looks like they will be able to do successfully. Finally, after 3 whole minutes, Reject finally take over.
Wait, they have the sprint hold. Jerry's on it, now comes out with the Eternal Bond. It's gonna be this last pitch hold, forcing out the Freedom Charge to sustain the lift of Rejects as Marvel. It's gonna be a back and forth, colors galore.
Yeah, so many particles flying around. Gargoyle is going to find one, is going to zone away Wendy as well with his fellow Captain America. So far, an even trade on both sides. Reject now on the advantage. Dobie has the Eternal Bond, and there is no Magneto Meteor to deny. The trail of healing, the trail of sustain, as Dobie will find a double. And the point finally goes in favor of Reject and shuts down that overtime meter.
Gotta love a little nice C&D action. I mean, kudos to Jerry for making that last-ditch effort on the Doctor Strange, just forcing an overtime into the matters. But hey, now on to the second leg here. Gargoyle looking around, getting all this information, being sussed out by Jerry actually. So probably will have to back off a little bit with Marvel.
Great play coming from Reject. Finally secured that second point. With a great awareness play coming from Nobi. Realizes that there's a dance coming in. And a great shroud to dodge away from the meteor. No smite. Still finds Marvel, but was denied from so much more.
That end song Inferno can't find any value. You know, you just stay high in the sky, T-posing. You think you can draw enough attention away, but at this level, pro players are expecting and using those audio cues to wait until they can knock off, I think that's 800 damage onto that body.
Yep, great awareness coming in, great team cohesion coming in, as well as the Psylocke seduction right here on the stairs area is just so influential when it comes to these fights. Finale will take advantage, will take out Jerry, the doppelganger of that Phoenix, as the rest of Zero Tenacity need to find a way back in, and this might be that first step as they take out Gargoyle.
It's back and forth. They're still playing around it. Jerry's trying to get back into the action. Has the end song Inferno. That might be the spawning power. We saw Finite try to do, but hey, Reject on the push right now. Oh, Kadia immediately taken out with the support from Izakaya on the Fate of Both Worlds.
Yeah, the Fate of Both Worlds providing so much utility for Reject, as there are so many ultimates available on Reject, and they all haven't been used as Reject look to get through the stairs and onto the second point. But for now, Zero Tenacity are going to look to regroup. They have 3 ultimates to work with, but Reject look to have that edge in terms of ultimate economy.
Yeah, Meteorum's online. That could counter the, Gargoyle perhaps, or Finale. All things start by Dotori's out of action.
Yeah, Dotori might be out of action, but there's also 2 more members on the side of Zero Tenacity that are also out of commission. Now, so much AoE damage coming in. Marvel will find another. No Smite will trade away as well, but Reject are looking good. That overtime meter starts up yet again, but it looks like Reject looking to take control, looking to find a way in. That strange portal is going to haunt them yet again, but will Reject overcome that portal this time around? It looks like it's going to be a yes, as Gargoyle takes 2, Izayaki takes 1, and Reject, by the skin of their teeth, will find a way back in, but Zero Tenacity staying true to their name, trying their best to not falter, but they will in the end.
Tenacious indeed, true to their name. That's 2 desperation portals that effectively forces overtime both on point 1 as well as leg 2 of this map. And now Rejects looking to push this along this journey towards forcing an overtime. They'll have to do exactly that if they want to deny a map 3.
Tenacity have Fate of Both Worlds, have the Silent Seduction available as well. Silent Seduction by Kaidia will be popped immediately as they want to try to zone Reject away from the point. And it looks like it's a little bit flipped right now. Reject now looking like they're on the defensive side, and Zero Tenacity flipping the spawn room to try to deny the point from moving forward. But here comes the response from Piggy, but the Fate of Both Worlds will neutralize that Silent Seduction for the time being. Finale does have the dive available, ready to go, but the Fate of Both Worlds is just providing so much utility, but it will expire, and the feed will light up blue as soon as that Fate of Both Worlds is gone. 12 seconds of safety, but it's all gone as Reject take over yet again.
What a trap play, right? Like the front side of Reject just garnered and shepherded the rest of Zero Tenacity into the waiting arms of Gargoyle, who just clicked heads and dropped bodies. Now overtime force, just like it was during that first half. Zero Tenacity taking that high ground, learning from their opponent's mistakes, wanting to force them off this cart.
Oh my gosh, here we go. 4 ultimates available on the side of Reject. Fusion cards being used. It's overtime or bust for Reject right now. They need to get 1 good push left. That's all they have to work with. They either force overtime or Zero Tenacity will force a map number 3. We are in a very, very close quarter scenario. As Zero Tenacity light up the board, they look to hold down Reject, as everyone on Reject need to run for the hills. They need to look for heroics from Finale, but Finale will fall in the end. And Marvel, the only member alive on the site, but it looks like it's all for naught. Zero Tenacity will hold off. It's 3rd time's the charm, and we go to a 3rd.
We go to a 3rd. It only took the first matchup on day number 2 here in the stage 2 group ups before we force Map number 3. I mean, beautifully done from Zero Tenacity, right? What a solid defense. Just bleeding out time and time from the likes of Reject on both point number 1 and point number 2. And that just left too little at that tail end for team fights to erupt for Reject.
Yeah. To be honest, both teams, again, playing so well, right? Because Reject looked for so many opportunities to try to get that advantage coming down, but Zero Tenacity also doing the same. I think almost every single fight, it got to a point where it was just an even trade. 1 for 1s, 2 for 2s, and then somewhere, some way, there's just those micro adjustments coming in from both teams that in the end got them that edge when it comes to these fights. Every single one coming down to the wire.
Yeah, and we kind of called out XZ earlier on during map 1 being effectively one of the harder carries, and this is precisely what we're seeing here in map 2. Alright, Halls of Djala, 20 final hits with an astounding 26k damage to their name and almost 40 that they've touched in terms of eliminations. These are numbers to rack up for obviously a star player.
This is something you want to see from XZ. He didn't really get a lot of playtime when he was on the Genji roster, and now that he's one of the main duelists here on Zero Tenacity, he is showing why maybe Genji shouldn't have put him on that substitute spot.
Fighting words, Dan. I like it. I mean, hey, if you want to find some action yourself, you make your own team and you climb your way to the top. And we're gonna see a lot of dancing between here in these replays between duelists trying to get the flank on each other. Very precise combination and uses of ultimates to be prescriptive and surgical onto getting their advantage, right? Who is really hard carrying the team? Who has the ultimates that are holding on onto the next fight that might give your opponents the edge? Trying to isolate those fights is important.
I feel like also something we don't really touch up on is these Emma Frost ultimates coming in. The silent seduction from both these teams have been quite influential during these fights. Like during those fights, we don't really talk about it a whole lot because it's overshadowed by Gargoyle getting a pick, XZ getting a pick, Jerry doing flanking shenanigans with XZ. But these Emma Frost ultimates have really been setting the tone when it comes to these fights. It really just forces all of these teams to act a little bit differently from what they're used to, having to dodge away, finding cover, or just trying to just completely just snake around, avoid it completely, and it just causes a lot more chaos in these fights.
It absolutely does, and thank you for calling out the supporting staff, right? Those are important. We have to give praise to our vanguards as well as our strategists. And you're absolutely right. Beautiful Fate of Both Worlds. The Eternal Bonds came out clutch in several factors, and I think that really led to the way that Zero Tenacity were able to secure all 3 points towards the end. You kind of called it as well during that first half. But hey, we're going the absolute distance here. It's going to be a map 3 immediately right off the bat. And we will set our eyes on Convoy as the teams discuss exactly which map they want to pick up. Let's take ourselves a little breather. Grab yourself some popcorn because we're here for a banger. Don't go anywhere.
Trapping all those fighting souls, but yet across the world I see you standing in my way. And remember the time, the place we used to fight, like the sun and moon. And I wonder if ever there was a time that we were friends. The night has fallen, shadows looming, and yes, that time has come for me to seek you out. We are set now for our last reunion. Break the chains, find your way, come fight me.
Another day, another series. But this series is a little different. We're going the full distance. We're going to a third map of Reject versus Zero Tenacity already in our first match of today. And we are more than excited to jump right in.
I mean, it's super spicy, right? Rejects being the winners of Asia region stage 1 against Zero Tenacity, who, have climbed their way through the Marvel Rivals Championship Season 2 with a few hidden, famous hard hitters, gold star players on their roster. I mean, if this is the upset of the moment, this will be huge. This will change the group stage for Group Stage B forever, right? If they can put a dent into Rejects and put themselves up ahead, and this is a warning sign that they will be putting out for the rest of the teams.
Yeah, this would be a great advantage, like you said, for Zero Tenacity to be one up already here in Group B. Group B arguably is the more stacked group when it comes to stage 2. You've got Reject, you've got Gen G, you've got so many different teams with so many different players that have so much experience, not only here in Marvel Rivals on the highest level, but also in different titles at the highest level as well. So in a way, you could really call Group B the group of death. But if Zero Tenacity are able to come out on top, they're gonna be sitting pretty here.
They will be indeed. Not if Rejects have anything to say about that. Reject your limits is your motto, and they're gonna do exactly that as they bring us into a map 3. It's their map, their choice, their side of pick as well, and we head to Midtown with them starting on the defense. Oh damn, when I hear Midtown defense first, my spidey sense is tingling. I'm thinking triple Vanguard, triple strategist. I'm thinking that chokehold kind of defensive maneuver right outside that first building door.
Yeah, we've seen it from other teams from other regions as well. Most of them really like to take control of that first floor. As soon as the gates open for the attackers, you see that little room right in front. It's just really a first floor hotel lobby kind of looking place, but some teams really like to take advantage of that area just to try to stop the attackers from pushing any further. But from what we've seen in matches past, the response on the attackers really has been that Brute and Moon Knight with the Strangling Thorns, Handa Kanshu Wombo combo. But we'll see what the approach comes in for Reject. They did want to defend first, so they definitely do have something up their sleeve.
Indeed. I mean, I'll throw a memory not too long ago, just yesterday on Crazy Raccoons versus Incipients on Spider Islands. They held a defensive hold of 22 meters with a triple Vanguard setup as well. So if the likes of Reject can replicate their success, I mean, if it's any team, it's gonna be them. I'm excited to see what they want to bring here in map number 3. We're going the absolute distance against Zero Tenacity.
Here we go. Zero Tenacity Reject, map number 3, and no better way to settle it here on the streets of Midtown. And yeah, like you said, it's going to be a big question mark if Reject will go for the triple Vanguard, triple strategist setup that we've seen in matches past. Like you said, like our callback to Crazy Raccoon versus Incipients. 22 meters. Can they hold less than that? Can they hold more than that? We'll see how it turns out.
That's a wild record to have. 22 meters on a convoy map. I mean, I'll have to dig through all the VODs to figure out if that's basically like a world title this year. But hey, we throw it into the picks and bans on Reject defense. Zero Tenacity on the pressuring attack, taking control of the rate and pace. Right off the cuff, I'm not gonna even look, Dan. I'm pretty sure the first half of the picks and bans are gonna be the same.
Yeah, they're probably gonna be the same. We see the Mantis gone, we see the Loki's gone on both sides, but there is an adjustment here. Reject will take Mantis for themselves this time around instead of that Luna Snow.
I mean, because Zero Tenacity gave up the Mantis ban off the rip for a Loki, wanted to make sure that can't be replicated. I think that was probably more important for both teams because it was a pretty early ban, but that let slip by a few things, right? Yes, Mantis now on the table for Rejects to commandeer. It's going to be that E key coming from Mantis, the damage boost that's so important, giving the likes of Finale, giving the likes of Gargoyle just that additional damage buff, and that could be the turning point against Zero Tenacity.
Looks like we're seeing a little bit of an adjustment coming in. We might go back to our stage 1 ways where Emma Frost is gone. Zero Tenacity do also ban out the Magneto as well. But how are they going to go about it? Do Reject decide to take away the Cloak and Dagger? That might be the question, because Cloak and Dagger really gets shut down by the Magneto. But if there's no Magneto, you may need to start thinking about prioritizing that Cloak and Dagger, but Doctor Strange being the choice of lock for Reject.
Obviously, chat, recasters don't have inside information in terms of what's happening in the background, but I feel like Reject was a little baited here with the double Vanguard bans of Magneto plus Emma Frost. Means that, hey, Reject say, we gotta secure at least one Vanguard. What if they take a third Vanguard away from us? The Doctor Strange is important because obviously with the teleports coming in clutch, Reject starting on the defense, it's important for them to be able to cycle back in time and bring their defenses back up to par.
The right heroes
I really like the response coming in from Reject, banning out the Human Torch when they saw Zero Tenacity lock in the Ultron. So, does limit the pool a little bit on the side of Zero Tenacity, but most notably, Psylocke is available for both sides at the moment.
I know we shouldn't say too much about the composition here in the lobby, but hey, on the defense side, I feel pretty confident about the prediction, right? The triple Vanguard, triple strategist look, Finale rocking that Mantis that they locked in, which gives the Vanguards just a little bit more damage output. You have Gargoyle on the Doctor Strange, you have Marvel running the Groot. I mean, these are all hard hitters, coupled with a damage boost from a Mantis. They could really put a great stronghold here in the first corner.
Yeah, we'll see how they approach this. We talked about that first floor hold, the hotel lobby position. Not sure if it's a hotel. But we're gonna just.
Well, we'll say it's a hotel. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna say it's a hotel for simplicity. For simplicity's sake, yeah, you know. But for now, looks like they're not gonna be inside of that area at all. They're just gonna play the outside, play the high ground area, as Jerry looking to pilot the blade.
Ooh. Saw a little bit of that earlier. Now onto the high jump. Out of the sky. Can't even find out where they are. Now it's going to be the likes of Gargoyle having to back up a little bit. The wall's isolating these fights. But Gargoyle's in the thick of it all. The shield's up. Has to back out a little bit further.
Yeah, XC tried to use the Wolverine, but couldn't really find an advantage. Will quickly swap over to the Punisher. Just play that backline hit scan character, and will look for extra angles to work with. Uses the smoke to try to make himself a better timing to go in. Jerry slashing away against the thing, doing his best, using the lifesteal, but Gargoyle almost takes out XZ, but with the shield, buys a little bit of time, but XZ still falls in the end.
That flank out of the way, which means the rest of Reject can focus fire up front. It's clobbering time from the thing, absolutely stunning half the team from Zero Tenacity. Back into the spawn you go.
Thankfully, the spawn is not too far from here.
Yeah, it's just there.
So it's going to be easy for Zero Tenacity to regroup and ready to go yet again. Jerry does have the ultimate available. That anti-heal could come in clutch with the Strangling Prison. And then the stun coming in. Stuns up 3. And Gargoyle wipes out 2. And the rest of Zero Tenacity need to run for the hills.
Oh, beautifully done. Great counter from Gargoyle on the Strange. And look, they still hold on to 3 of their ultimates. Yes, Finale burned the soul, the ultimate, but you don't overburn, you do not overheat, you hold on to your ultimates. This is the high level play we're talking about to be able to cycle thoroughly and steadily.
Yeah, but both teams do have both of their strategies ultimates available and ready to go. XZ getting wiped out before Wendy is able to save him with Fate of Both Worlds, and the hold is looking strong for Reject. as they look to stagger Zero Tenacity again. Jerry forced out of the blade, now onto the Storm.
ZZ actually brought out the final judgment in those mere seconds, but was wiped by a beautiful Maelstrom of Madness from Gargoyle. The timing could not be more impeccable as Zero Tenacity tried to lay stake once again. It's going to be disappearing axe from the side of Zero Tenacity, countered by an Eternal Bond straight into this invisible boundary, allowing Rejects to force themselves back onto this point.
Yep, right now, man advantage coming in for Zero Tenacity. No smites. His hellfire was fluctuating, but it finally hits zero. Kaidia looking for the dunk. Doesn't quite land the damage, but Kaidia with the left click will still take out Finale. As the Omega Hurricane as well coming in, and this will be their breaking point, their final moment to push as Zero Tenacity finally break open after 3 minutes.
Yeah, Gargoyle, do you want to pull out the teleport orb sorely? Indeed they do. They want to cut things short as early as possible. They're holed up inside hotel, and now it's gonna be the Mantis Ultimate just storming their way out onto the roads here. Zero Tenacity coming out, beautiful strangling prison from the side of Marvel, just absolutely annihilating the side of Zero Tenacity. What a stronghold it is from Dovey and Gargoyle, following up, sending Zero Tenacity packing once more.
That was a good timing coming in from No Smite with the Eye of Agamotto to stun up Piggy and Finale, but in the end it was Marvel who steals the show with a multi-man strangling prison and was just able to wipe out Zero Tenacity. Back to spawn they go.
Now we come in, well anticipated, eyeing this Gargoyle. It's going to be the judge, jury, and execution. Everyone's pulled up on the second, on the right side. Finale's out of action. Dobie as well. The Cocoon trying to make a last-ditch effort. I'm not sure if they're focused on it. They absolutely are. It's going to be Finale coming up from the Cocoon, but Ziggy is right there with the shorty onto 2 players, wiping out the rest of Rejects.
You know your spells.
That was a great push coming in from Zero Tenacity with that final judgment. I don't think Reject were really expecting themselves to be pinned in the corner like that. They all kind of just jumped into it. And in the end, it was their demise as Zero Tenacity looked to get the first point. And it looks like I don't think Reject can really get there in time. No, the 2 frontliners will finally make it in. Slobbering time only lands into XC as Kaidia will take out Dobie with the Meteor and will take out Piggy as well. And this first point might go in favor of them, but XC and Jerry do get stunned by the Eye of Agamotto and they're gonna get wiped out.
Izakaya doing their best to hold this back line for themselves. Gargoyle taking the front line along with Marvel, who's changed over to the Captain America, dealing damage onto Wendy. The Eye of Agamotto finds Finale, but there's too much to bear because the resurgence from Finale comes back with
my gosh.
Beautifully done with Dobie on the Raccoon. It's a solid hold, denying even a single point away from the attackers.
Time to switch things
Great
up.
hold coming in, and now the pressure is all on Zero Tenacity. Can they push through? Can they exceed what Reject were able to do? Will they take the series, take the map? It all rests in this push.
132 meters. Not a 22-meter push. But we take those dubs. Honestly, Reject had a phenomenal defensive half, right? They on that triple strategist, they were able, triple charge, triple vanguard, just able to put up a huge roadblock, honestly, preventing that card from making its way to Grand Central Station, which I think is at the end of it all. No, the Fantastic Four HQ at the end of it all.
Now Zero
30
Tenacity
seconds before you attack.
looking to do the same composition with the triple Vanguard, triple strategist setup. XZ will be that off duelist, off strategist on that Adam Warlock, so he will be providing the damage. And it's just a question of can it be enough. Finale and Marvel teaming up with the Strangling Thorns Panda Khonshu Wombo combo in case that Zero Tenacity do something like that. But look at the positioning coming in. They're play back, but Kaidia will walk forward just to provide a bit of presence.
There's running, taking a page out of Reject's book, right? Running that triple Vanguard as well. A bit of a difference. Kaidia on the Doctor Strange. We've got Magneto as well as the Groot, but already around the first corner here. He's trying to dance around this wall. He has to back off. The explosion out from Zero Tenacity. Their marks ended up being known as explode out from the building and apply pressure onto Reject.
Yeah, all eyes are on Reject right now, on Finale in particular, as well as Marvel. It's just a matter of can they get the damage down, and Finale out of nowhere! They don't need the wombo combo, he's just gonna find 4!
My comrades.
That was nasty from the set of Rejects. I mean, yeah, I thought Zero Tenacity had a bit of an explosion onto the cart, but Rejects held their ground, cool, calm, and collected. I think KD's gonna have time to pop a teleport to deny this, but they'll have to do it quick. Already at the 100-meter mark, and XZ being the early scout. Yep, that teleport comes in strong. No Smite will take the front here and lead the charge.
They need to win this fight here, or else this map will end as soon as it started. As the Strangling Prison didn't look like it landed the mark, but for now, Reject need to keep on going. They are 7 meters away from winning this map and winning the series, but Zero Tenacity, they're looking to hold off Reject as the Eye of Agamotto is available for Kaidio.
Oh. Yeah, he has his spot. It has to back down just a little bit more. I like you, sneaky with it. Now, the end summon Inferno doesn't quite find the mark. Evaporates before hitting the ground. So Jerry has to reposition, trying to get these sparks online.
Oh my goodness, that meter is so close right now. But Reject are so close to holding it off, but it looks like Zero Tenacity looking to hold for now. The Eye of Agamotto is going to be used from both sides, but it looks like Reject will be falling down, and Zero Tenacity will take advantage of the better Eye of Agamotto, and they look to hold for another round.
Next time.
They do indeed. I mean, it was tenacious, and exactly like their namesake, we'll be able to at least delay that inevitable win. Still another 1 minute and 40 seconds. I'm looking at that Moon Knight plus Groot ultimate combo that's going to be starting online soon. That'll be the one to look out for.
Yeah, all eyes are on that yet again. But the last time around, Finale didn't even need it. But Finale, ooh, great pick onto XZ. This might be the starting point of a map 3 victory, hopefully, as the Strangling Prison now online, ready to go. But here is the Fate of Both Worlds just in time. But Marvel does use that Strangling Prison, but Finale will hold on and will go down as Jerry is able to flick him his way into a man advantage as the Omega Hurricane will be used. The Eye of Agamotto onto 2. Izayaki and Marvel will get chunked down as Reject needs to reset again.
45 seconds. Now it's getting a little tenacious. Now it's getting very nervous, right? XZ, despite having gone down fairly early, it's the rest of the teams were able to rally through and provide enough defensive hold. Now XZ, once again, taking this high ground for themselves, and Rejects will have to do their due diligence to clear out all these corners. There's a lot of buildings, a lot of windows to have to work around.
It's a good chance for Pig to use the Eye of Agamotto right now. No strategy ultimates available just yet, but XZ and No Smite will team up to find 2. Man advantage in favor of Zero Tenacity for the time being, but Gargoyle will find a trade onto XZ, and these trades have been even throughout this entire series. 2 for 2 this time around, but Reject need to make their way in. 3 seconds left, 2 seconds left, and that overtime meter will start to take fruition.
They will indeed. Gobi is back on the Jeff, wanting to try this backline support with the Land Shark itself. Jerry right up it, trying to do with the backline. But oh, the Ensom Inferno just able to work his magic. It's a 2-for for Jerry onto Gargoyle.
Biggie still has the Eye of Agamotto, will be used, but he gets shoved out immediately, but still finds Jerry as Kaidia will get stunned as well. XZ will find another, but Reject and Zero Tenacity still going the absolute distance. Another 1-for-1 trade as Dobie tries to hold off, but it looks like Zero Tenacity will hold the fort and they will win out the series in the end.
That is phenomenal. That is the craziest start here for day 2 against Rejects, against the winners themselves of the stage 1 Mortal Rivals Ignite Asia. Zero Tenacity has all the tenacity, right? A reverse sweep. That's amazing.
That is a great start for Zero Tenacity, making a name for themselves, taking down the current champions of Stage 1. And we talked about this before this map even started. If Zero Tenacity do come out with a series win here, they are going to be in a very comfortable spot. Group B, very, very stacked. And with this win, it just makes this a much more comfortable experience.
It really does. I mean, to be honest, I was a little caught off guard. You know, the roster for Rejects have mostly stayed the same since Stage 1, with apart from Mocha. And Marvel plus Izakaya looked really good as on their debuts on Map 1 in that domination half, you know, making waves on the back line. But hey, it was just fight after fight. Tenacity, Zero Tenacity coming back with all the tenacity in the world, locking in, digging deep when it really mattered. We're able to hold down the defense even better than the likes of Rejects themselves.
Oof. But honestly, yeah, props to both of these teams playing out of their minds. We can see why Reject are one of the favorites, but this time they're going to be on the back foot this time around. If I remember correctly, I think Reject in Stage 1 did come out undefeated in the group stage, and now they're going to be starting on the back foot.
Yeah, look at No Smite. Look at No Smite with 46k damage blocked. If that's not a Vanguard, I don't know, right? Just able to hold their ground. And there was some beautiful left clicks as well as those Meteor M's, not necessarily finding eliminations with the Meteor M, but using it as a zoning tool. Jerry on the Phoenix as well, using the end song Inferno as a zoning tool as well. Like we saw in the mid-season finals, there is continuous effort from the side of Zero Tenacity, understanding, hey, with each team fight, what exactly is our win con, right? We head off to the replays, and it's just such a back and forth. In the first half, we thought Rejects had a brilliant hold with some crazy ultimate cycling, not overheating, thinking things through, but the breakthrough from Zero Tenacity was what gave them the edge to push it all the way to 132 meters.
Yeah, and what you covered it for a little bit, right? These teams have been just push and pull throughout this entire series, back and forth every time. I don't think we've ever seen a match with that many even trades. I'm not gonna lie. It's just, as soon as one person goes down the other side, another person goes down, and then it's just blink and you miss it. 1 for 1, 2 for 2, and then somewhere during all that, some of those micro adjustments, micro plays coming in is all the difference it makes.
I also think, I'm thinking about the picks and bans as well. I think the ban out from Emma Frost was really, really important for the side of Zero Tenacity, right? Like, you've seen Piggy do absolute wonders running the Emma Frost, the Sonic Seduction, like you call it, a great zoning tool to be able to scatter the offensive into corners that they're, not comfortable playing around, and that just leaves openings for the flanks to come in through, and taking that away from Piggy, who has been so comfortable on the Emma Frost, forcing them onto, the Doctor Strange. Yes, these players have deep pockets and they can hero swap pretty easily, but I felt like that gave the likes of Zero Tenacity just a little bit of an edge, or maybe perhaps shaving off the edge from Rejects.
Yeah, we talked about the Emma Frost in past maps, right? They have been really the silent heroes for both of these teams, as that Sonic Seduction really does cause a lot of chaos, and this time around, both of these teams really didn't want to deal with that, especially on Midtown, where there's just a lot of lanes, a lot of choke points that this Emma Frost with one good ultimate can just absolutely take over. And both teams well aware of what they were getting themselves into, had they have allowed the Emma Frost to go through, and they just take it away before considering that kind of option.
I also think about that last fight that could have gone Reject's way. It was actually, we kind of talked about the combo wombo between the Hand of Khonshu and the Strangling Prison. Then with Finale holding on to the ultimate, I think Finale was waiting, right? Just waiting. Okay, where's my Strangling Prison? Where is it going to be popped? I'm looking at you, Marvel. Just wanted to figure out where is a good place to put that Groot ult, and unfortunately Marvel was picked off really early by I think Jerry on the Phoenix up top above the cart as well, and it's just so unfortunate because that could have been such a big game changer for the likes of Reject. It is what it is, you know, and it just takes that small microsecond advantage to give Zero Tenacity a leg up.
Yeah, and a leg up. They do indeed take Jerry, finding that pick onto Finale on the latter end of that round is all the difference it makes, right? The wombo combo doesn't even take place, but Finale did also go absolutely crazy at the start of it too, with a I think it was a quad elimination coming in as well with the Moon Knight. I thought they were gonna break through with the wombo combo, but the left clicks was all it took. And now we are getting word as we are having our player interview from the winning team. It's going to be none other than the Mag player himself, No Smite of Zero Tenacity.
Indeed, No Smite, having played Magneto a couple of times, and we've already sung praises. But hey, lo and behold, we have the person of the hour right here with us. No Smite, can you hear us? Why don't you introduce yourself real quick to all the viewers here on Twitch and YouTube?
Hello, I'm No Smite.
Hi.
So
Welcome,
I'm sorry.
welcome.
Can you
Welcome.
tell me a little one more?
No problem. Welcome, No Smite. Thank you for joining us. How do you feel? Are you happy with that?
I'm
win?
really happy. I'm really happy.
We love to hear that. And when you were getting ready to play versus Reject, how did you prepare yourself? How did your team get ready for this game?
We work hard for this game. We think about the comment.
Yeah,
Definitely.
We
Thinking about
really
the
hope
stats,
to
trying
win
counter them.
against counter. Yeah,
You did.
we
You absolutely did.
Meg Ben and Emma Ben third game. Yeah, we really think about it. Yeah.
Think about the draft.
Yes!
Think about the comeback.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you did that. That Emma Frost ban was so important, and I'm glad y'all thought about it to get yourself here. Beautiful. I want to ask you as well. Tomorrow, right? You will be playing against Rocket University. Excited to win?
Yeah. Maybe we are confidence. We have confidence against Rocket. Yeah. We believe we will win. Yeah.
We love to hear that. And I think that'll be it for the interview. Thank you so much for joining us. And you can now join your team to celebrate. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Goodbye.
That was No Smite, the Vanguard player here for Zero Tenacity. You can see beaming from year to year. Absolutely ecstatic to have been one of the top, if not the top team from the Asia region here. Unbelievable.
Yeah, great stuff coming in from Zero Tenacity. Both of these teams playing out of their minds, but in